Schoeler here with Ryan Root, as always, ready to talk about some NFL action. I know we missed our week 4 recap. I was traveling, wasn't able to make it on Monday, so I'll let you go quickly before we get into the news. Give me your one big takeaway from week 4 action.
I thought week 4 was pretty entertaining with some of the upsets that we got because, we didn't have really a ton of upsets to go off of this year. I was really hoping the Lions were going to figure it out. They didn't, but the Jets finally got a win, so that was interesting. My biggest takeaway, honestly, it was kind of an interesting performance from Trey Lance towards the end of the game against Seattle. I think Trey Lance has potential to be, a pretty dangerous quarterback in this league. He was giving me some Kaepernick vibes on some of the rushing plays that he had and some of the decisions he was making. I think it's just I think Jimmy G's clock is ticking ever so quicker. I think Trey Lance is actually going to step out into the field relatively soon because he really showed out in that game against Seattle.
Yeah. For me, I got to eat some crow on the Jets. Obviously, they were able to win. Zach Wilson looked really good. But for me, it's probably another rookie quarterback. I think Mac Jones was really impressive in that game against Tampa Bay. Obviously, he wasn't able to get the win, but he played really, really well. The moment was not too big for him, and it was one of the biggest regular season games in a really long time. So I think that's good signs for him. He's able to move the ball. He's able to do the right thing. And, those are that's the basis for, a quarterback to build off of. So I think he's got, a lot of potential, something I already thought, but especially after the way he played in a huge moment, I think, it shows that he's ready to ascend at some point. So we're going to move on to the news. I've got a lot of news here, so we're going to go rapid fire like some, PTI status here. So I'm just going to rattle them off. You react, I'll react. But I think probably one of the biggest ones is Justin Fields is the Chicago starter going forward. Matt Nagy announced that obviously he was playing in wake of Andy Dalton's injury, but he is QB1 from now on.
It was bound to happen at some point, and Andy Dalton, we all love him to a certain degree. He's a very smart guy, very smart quarterback, but Fields, he kind of showed, why he was a first-round quarterback against Detroit. He really flipped the script in terms of his performance the previous week, where he had just an awful performance. But a win against a winless team, I guess, ought to get you to the starting job. But we'll see how he goes moving forward. He plays the hot Raiders team this weekend. So we'll see how he performs, but I'm happy.
We're getting close to that Justin Fields, Trey Lance matchup. I think that's like week 7 or something. I know you got your eye on that, but we knew it was going to happen at some point, whether it was because of play or because of injury or just because it's time, especially with the Bears realizing they're probably not a playoff team, but good to see Justin Fields kind of get that chance. Just hope that the offense can help him out. And speaking of that, David Montgomery, the running back for the Bears, out, said about 4 to 5 weeks. So as soon as Justin Fields kind of gets the reins, it's a bit unfortunate as he loses one of the best playmakers on that offense and a guy who can probably take some pressure off of him.
Yeah, having that injury affect Chicago's running game is somewhat detrimental considering that's been like the most consistent part of their offense. As painful it is to say that David Montgomery is probably one of the first options on that offense, but Justin Fields, there's just going to be more pressure put on him in the passing game. Allen Robinson needs to be implemented more into that offense. So if anything, I think it just gives Jimmy Garoppolo. It's going to give Justin Fields more freedom to kind of do his thing and get used to the offense.
Yeah, Damian Williams is going to step up. He's a solid veteran. He'll provide Khalil Herbert behind him some, relief. But it's a lot more pressure on Justin Fields going forward. Stefan Gilmore traded to the Carolina Panthers, announced they were going to release him, and then Carolina swooped in and said, oh, we'll give you, I think it's like a 6th-round pick instead. So Stefan Gilmore, Defensive Player of the Year in 2019, traded for a late-round pick to Carolina.
I love this trade for Carolina. I think this was immensely smart by them, considering that they're playing well. I've been high on Carolina this whole year, and they played a very tough game against Dallas this past weekend and ended up taking their first loss. But getting a former Defensive Player of the Year to help their already on the rise defense, I love this move from Carolina. I think this is really going to help them out in the long run for this season, and they could be progressing more towards a wild card spot. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Belichick has a pretty good track record of not getting burned on these trades. He usually recognizes when a guy's done, gets him out of there. I think Gilmore's on the PUP list, so it probably won't be a few weeks until he can play. But Tom Brady wanted out there. He didn't trade him, but and so we'll see what he's able to do. But I mean, for a 6th round pick, he doesn't have to be a defensive player of the year to provide some value. We'll go now to a couple of injury news. First, Will Fuller on the IR. Sucks to see for him. He was suspended first game of the year, sat out another game, came back. Now he's back on the IR. Just kind of sucks. Dude was really talented last year. Had an opportunity to kind of be the guy in Miami, but that certainly doesn't seem like it's going to happen with him having to miss 3 weeks at the minimum. Yeah,
and Miami's just been a very, very kind of confusing team for me. I mean, I doubt that. It seems like ever since this Tua injury, Miami's been kind of on a downward spiral, but that doesn't seem to like speak out to me like everything is dependent on Tua. Like there's just a disconnect on both sides of the football. And Brian Flores is a great coach by all means. I just don't know what's really going on with this football team. But the fact that Will Fuller is now having issues, just more pressure to put on Devontae Parker and Jalen Waddle, especially Jalen Waddle, to try to come out there and compete against the other first-round receivers that are doing relatively well. I don't have a great read on this Miami team, and my cats are having a demolition derby back here. But I don't have a great read on this Miami team yet, but this obviously doesn't help.
Yeah. I feel it's hard to kind of figure out what they're doing there. It'd be nice if Will Fuller could, be consistent, help out Tua when he's there, but we'll see how that goes. Chris Carson, no official word yet, but it looks like he is going to a little bit of chatter that he will be out tonight dealing with some sort of neck injury. We saw him kind of not get used too much last week, and obviously that game is tonight, so we'll know at some point today. But Chris Carson most likely not going to play tonight.
Good old Chris Carson having some minor to medium injury issues. I mean, that's kind of why Seattle kind of got him for a little bit of a deal for that. It was like a 2-year contract or something like that. They put him on like Chris Carson
team option for 3.
Yeah. So, I mean, Chris Carson is, I'd call him a top 15 back in the league. I think that's pretty safe, but we were bound to get some injury issues with Chris Carson's.
Yeah, I mean, running backs on average, miss a couple of games. It's just a demanding position, especially this season with the extra game. So, if it's for the long-term preservation of him, that's a good move. But I just hope it's not, something a little more serious that requires him to miss a little bit more time. But Alex Collins should step in and be solid. Obviously, it's going to be a tough matchup, but maybe, this will mean a little bit more of the passing game today. And then Calvin Ridley not traveling with the team. The Falcons play in London this week. He's not there. I believe Russell Gage is also out, so some wide receivers will be out for the Falcons against the Jets in that London game.
Man, these were 2 juggernaut teams that are about to go represent us in the UK, and just
I know
this could be
gonna have to
any other game.
Gonna have to rely on Olamide Zaccheaus instead.
Yep, I know that guy. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, just sucks for Matt Ryan. Calvin Ridley was a stud. He's been playing pretty well. Just the offense hasn't been getting going. Probably means that they won't get going this week. Kyle Pitts, maybe this is his chance to step up, but
maybe he's on 2 of my fantasy teams, so he better get his act in shape.
And then Jimmy Garoppolo, who we touched on a little bit with Trey Lance, not practicing today. He left the game with an injury last week. They haven't said whether or not he will play this weekend, but possible that Trey Lance gets that start against Arizona.
Tick, tick, tick. That's Jimmy G's clock going. I mean,
for sure.
It's not a good sign, because if he does not play this weekend and Trey Lance does start, and they have quite a favorable matchup. Arizona game. Never mind. I thought they were playing like a different time. So it's kind of an important game. If they perform well against the undefeated Arizona Cardinals that just beat the Rams last weekend, if Trey Lance performs well, GBG, I think it's I think your time has come, and it's Trey Lance's time. But, not practicing today, that's certainly not a good sign for Jimmy G, who knows he's on the hot seat.
Yeah, just something to monitor. And, I think Trey Lance, if they are prepared for him to start going into this game, I think he'll have a lot better game. It's hard to throw a rookie quarterback in the middle of a game and, figure everything out. It's nice to kind of game plan for that. So, it'll be really interesting to see if Trey Lance does get that start, what Kyle Shanahan kind of has schemed up for them, because that rushing ability is impressive. He had good stats last week, a lot of it padded by a long broken coverage Deebo Samuel touchdown. But I mean, we could get, all 5 rookie quarterbacks starting this week. And so that would certainly be interesting. And then
that would be the most in history. I'd have met 5 starting rookie quarterbacks in a single.
Well, there'd be 6. There'd be 6 actually, because Davis Mills is starting.
Who had a splendid game this last weekend.
Oh yeah. But so yeah, I mean, that would be something to monitor. I don't know that I know there's been some big rookie quarterback classes before. I think like the one with Dan Marino back in the day. But yeah, that'll be certainly a storyline. And then last one, I saw this going through. Christian McCaffrey, quote from him, said he will definitely play this weekend. Obviously, that's nothing official, and I think any player you would ask would say that, even a guy with a friggin' broken leg. But I mean, it's Christian McCaffrey. When he comes back, he is an electric playmaker. He is one of the best offensive players in the game. So if he does come back this weekend, that'll be huge for a Panthers team that is, playing really well in his stead.
That's my number 1 overall pick right there. So if he says he's going to play, then by God, he's going to play.
He better be playing.
I'm all for CMC getting some touches out there this weekend. He was my number one overall pick. I took a risk taking him, but he missed a little bit of time. But if he says he's going to play, he's going to play. And Carolina, there's a little bit of a feeling over there in what do they play in Charlotte, right? Or is it Raleigh? I think they play in Charlotte.
I think so.
There's a little bit of a feeling over there in Carolina. I think they got something going on. And if CMC recognizes that and he wants to play, then you better damn well play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, it tracks with the fact that they didn't put him on the IR, which would be a minimum 3 weeks miss. So this is within that time frame. So, maybe he is ready. A little bit of a minor injury. That would certainly be, great for them. We are going to move on to the Fantasy 5, with a little asterisk, not always 5. I know we had some technical difficulties during it last week. I missed some questions in the chat, but I promise I will be checking that this week. So if you have a question, drop it in there, and I will just start rattling off my names as usual. I've got a full list of guys that I'm ready to to hit on. I think I've been doing pretty good. I've been, we haven't been going back over these, but I've been keeping track on some of mine. I make some good calls, so I think I'm going risky this week. So,
all right.
I'll start and I'll just blaze through these. So starting now, starting quarterbacks. I like Matthew Stafford. He had a interesting week against Cardinals, still all right, but Seattle's pass defense isn't great. Matt Stafford's going to want to bounce back and just, throw it all over the field. That's my assumption. And then Taylor Heineke. He's had 20-plus fantasy points in all 3 of his starts, which is pretty impressive. Last week he had a really good game in that comeback victory. And New Orleans Saints, 7th most passing yards, not an incredible pass defense. So I think Heineke, in what might be a close game, maybe another come-from-behind victory, has a big day. And then Baker Mayfield, he's playing well. He's, managing the offense well, but it's not translating for fantasy points. And the Chargers have a pretty stout passing defense, giving up the 5th least passing yards. And so they're going to rely on that run game. And then running backs, I like Michael Carter of the Jets. He's been slowly kind of inching up there. 13 carries last week, which is a season high. Atlanta's not an incredible run defense, 11th worst in yards per carry. So maybe, we see a lot of leaning on Michael Carter, get him into the end zone. And then Damian Harris, a huge bounce back week, really struggled against Tampa Bay, maybe the best run defense in the league. But this is a Houston team that has not been competitive in a while. I think they're going to lean on the run, and, they're not great at defending the run, as they're not really great at everything. And then Cordero Patterson is a sit. He was sitting on my bench last week when he went off for 30 points, but that was 3 touchdowns on 11 touches. Probably not going to repeat that. I mean, the Calvin Ridley stuff being out gives him a little bit of an area, but I don't see 3 touchdowns again for him. So maybe a solid game, but not what you were expecting based on last week. And then receivers, Darnell Mooney, 25 yards per catch last week, which was really good. Seems to have some sort of connection with Justin Fields, with Allen Robinson struggling. So, I think that'll continue. And then Jalen Waddle, we hit on him a little bit earlier. He's first on Miami in receptions. Will Fuller's out. Tampa Bay secondary is struggling. Miami's probably playing from behind. I think Jalen Waddle will get involved. And then Mike Williams, he's a sit for me. He struggled last week in a decent matchup. Cleveland's got a good pass defense, but I think they'll be able to hold him back. And then I've got 2 tight end starts that are kind of the same thing. Ricky Seals-Jones, Washington football team. He's replacing Logan Thomas. And like I said, I think Taylor Heineke has a good day. And then Cameron Brate should play in place of Gronk. He's doubtful at this time, but, they might keep him out another week. And if so, Cameron Brate could be a good option. And then George Kittle is a sit for me. A lot of targets, but hasn't produced yards. And then Arizona's got a kind of a stingy defense with some athletic linebackers that can cover him. And especially if Trey Lance plays, I think they'll lean a lot more on that quarterback run. So George Kittle has just had an underwhelming year in general. So it kind of sucks to see from a guy of his caliber.
Yeah, so I got my start and sits for this week. I'll start with quarterback here. I'm going to sit Russell Wilson. I know firsthand as a Seahawks fan, they got to play this Rams team twice a year. And Thursday night primetime Russell Wilson, you never want to count him out by any means. He may go out there and do whatever it takes to get the win, but in terms of fantasy performance, he's got to deal with Aaron Donald. He's got to deal with Jalen Ramsey. It's going to be a rough day for the Seattle offense. It kind of just.
I mean, even after what Kyler Murray did last week.
I think Sean McVay is a smart enough coach to realize that this is the best team in the NFL still, and they need to adjust. Yeah. They need to adjust on the fly in a short response time from playing to Sunday to Thursday. I think they'll get put into gear and they'll figure it out. Let's see. We'll start Dak Prescott. Obviously, is a solid start every week, but I do like his matchup against New York
Giants.
Dak Prescott's obviously a very solid start for anybody. I definitely like him. I would sit Nick Chubb mainly because my thing with Nick Chubb owners on fantasy is they think like he's just going to perform amazing every week and he's in this run first offense. But I picked Kareem Hunt in 2 of my leagues and Kareem Hunt's been doing relatively okay. And Nick Chubb is not too far ahead or behind. I'm not sure how they match up fantasy point wise, but Nick Chubb isn't very consistent, but I do want to start
83 yards at least rushing every week. Just got to get into the end zone, but I feel it.
Kareem Hunt seems to be that end zone guy, is what I'm saying. That's why I do my leagues. Yeah. It's just sneaky. But I'd sit Chubb. I do like Henderson from the Rams playing against Seattle. Seattle's going to give up a ton of yards, whether it be through the air or in the running game. I think Seattle's going to probably bite on the passing game a little harder than usual to try to prevent Matt Stafford from getting hot. And I think that's going to open up lanes for Henderson tonight. In terms of the receivers, obviously, Cooper Kupp is obviously, tempting, but I'm going to try to switch it around with the teams here. I'm going to go through the list here. You don't like Cordero Patterson, but I hope he gets another 20 just to stick it to you.
Yes, I mean he might.
I do. Not necessarily Jamar Chase got to go against Green Bay there, but
Jair Alexander
could maybe be a sleeper. Dallas's defense is kind of piecing things together, off to a 3-1 start, but Kenny Golladay might be a play there. I'm not starting any of the Bucs receivers this weekend to going against Miami. Again, I'm not too sure what this Miami identity is. And I'm not sure how Tampa Bay is really going to tackle that team. So I don't really like any of their receivers in any of those games. And as far as tight end goes, just don't start what's his face? Kyle Pitts. Just don't start him.
Well, this might be the week.
I thought it was going to be the week before, and the week before.
There's no receivers. There's no receivers. I think this is a Kyle Pitts game coming up.
Kyle Pitts game coming. Well, I hope so, at least. I do
That
kind of
looks
like
awesome.
Dawson Knox going.
Yeah, he's hot.
2 touchdowns this last weekend, and I think he's serving as kind of a red zone threat for this Bills team that's so, some people think are so reliant on Stefan Diggs and maybe even a little bit of Emmanuel Sanders in there. But Dawson Knox, I think, is going under people's radars. But don't start Kyle Pitts. And as far as the defense goes, anybody that's playing the Jags every week, anybody that's playing the Jags.
Yeah. And then always sit Robert Tonyan, just having a bad year. We got a question in the chat. Start 1, Allen Robinson, Zach Moss, Damian Williams, Alex Collins. I would probably lean Damian Williams on that. Obviously, if Alex Collins is named the starter, that's enticing. But Damian Williams, I think, will take over that Chicago backfield. Allen Robinson, you've kind of got to put on the bench until you see him do something. But, yeah, Justin Fields starting, take some pressure off. And then, yeah, Damian Williams going against who they're playing, the Raiders. Probably be involved in the pass game. But I like Damian Williams. That's probably where I'm going. And another one, should I trade Henderson and one of Jamar Chase, Woods, or Marvin Jones for Diggs and Pittman? I assume Michael Pittman.
I'm not too high on Pittman really yet.
Yeah.
One of my leagues. I thought he would have been better by now, but he's just not quite there yet as the Indianapolis is trying to figure it out.
Yeah, we'll have to see kind of what he develops with Carson Wentz, but Henderson, if you've got running back depth and you really need a top tier wide receiver, I think Diggs will end up having a good year. I wouldn't give up Jamar Chase, but if you want to sell low on Woods or kind of hedge that Marvin Jones won't have a great year, then I think that's solid. But make sure you've got 2 other running backs that you can start. And then if Chris Carson is out, should I still start Williams? I probably would, just because that Rams defense is really good. In Seattle, I think they might lean on the pass. I think if you're starting Collins, you're really hoping for a touchdown. And so I think that's a little tough situation to go. And what's your take on that, Ryan?
I agree with the Alex Collins take. If they're going to take a step down from Chris Carson's and going against a great defense and a great team in LA, they're not going to be trying to, they're going to be trying to match the energy from LA. And LA is a very energetic passing offense, and Russell is going to be put to the test. I know he's on my sit list, but Alex Collins, like you said, you're kind of betting on him getting like a 2-yard run into the end zone.
Yeah.
Betting on him to carry you through a drive.
And I think Damian Williams will be pretty involved. He'll catch some passes because, who knows what we'll see. We might see Travis Homer come in and catch some passes, get some third down work, and then – oh, yeah. And another one, start 2, PPR, Damian Williams, Waddle, Devonta Smith, and Pittman. I mean, I think Damian Williams, go with him. I like the running backs, especially. And then in terms of receivers, I mean, Pittman's probably out on this, but Jalen Waddle or Devonta Smith, what do you think, Ryan?
Jalen Waddle or Devonta Smith this weekend or just overall? If we're talking
this weekend. Let me go see his targets.
I like Waddle a little bit more because Tampa Bay's defense hasn't been quite the same as it was towards the end of last year, and I like Waddle a little bit more in terms of having like a go-to guy for Miami to try to get some momentum going. Yeah, I'd probably pick Waddle over Devontae. If Philly wasn't playing Carolina, who just got Stefan Gilmore, who I think might play the next week. I doubt he's dressed right now.
Probably not. But yeah, J.C. Horn, I think he's out. But Carolina defense has been a little stingy. I mean, Dallas did have a pretty good game on them, but a lot of that was through the air. I mean, I do like Waddle. I think the only issue there is Devontae Parker. He's got a little bit more targets, but Waddle's leading in receptions. I think they're going to try to get him the ball in terms of playing from behind. I think like I said, Waddle might be a sneaky play, and then he also throws out there Schultz or Higbee this week. Schultz is going on a tear right now. Higbee is a touchdown reliant tight end, and he's not getting a lot of red zone work, especially with Kupp and Woods and all those receivers. So I like riding the hot hand with Schultz. Dak's looking to him quite a lot, and then playing the Giants, who the defense is solid, but should be a decently high scoring game. So I like Schultz. I like riding the hot hand there. Obviously, more questions, you can put them in there as we move on to our preview. of these games. We will start with tonight's game, Rams-Seahawks. Obviously a huge game. You know, we've gotten a lot of kind of meh Thursday night games, but we're getting a game worthy of that primetime spot with two of the contenders in the NFC West, which is an incredible division.
Well, it's certainly going to be entertaining, as most of the primetime games have been thus far this season. Even the Bengals-Jags game, I mean,
they've all been close,
and
it was not huge. They've been close.
Yes, they have been close. Entertaining, I guess, is a different deal. But in terms of the Thursday night game, even though this is at home, Rams is the favorite to win by 2.5. This is very tough for me to call, considering I got to take into account primetime Russell here, because primetime Russell going up the field to maybe do a game-winning drive. You don't want any other quarterback, in my opinion, to lead you on a game-winning drive other than maybe Aaron Rodgers, right? So
I might take Mahomes.
Yes and no. Aaron Rodgers has had a little bit more experience playing from behind late in a game.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at this game, I think Seahawks are going to kind of have to bite the bullet here, and they'll take the L. I would take the Rams to cover.
Yeah, 2.5. 2.5 that's the sweet spot, because you can win by a field goal and still get it. 3.5, it gets dicey. But, you know, a Rams 2 or 1 point win is tough to call. I think, you know, the worst thing for the Seahawks was the Rams losing last week, because they are not going to want to lose again. They're going to be angry. They're going to be, you know, out for revenge, even though it's a different team. If they're coming in, you know, 4-0 off of the back of two kind of big wins, I think you might be able to catch them on a short week. But, you know, they're going to be really motivated. And so, yeah, I like Rams to cover. And one thing before we move on, I want to hit on our wagers we made last week, as we didn't get to go over them on Monday.
That last one wasn't fair, but sure, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, so Buffalo, 15.5 spread. They, you know, doubled that. So I'll take that. Yeah. Derrick Henry, 100 yards in the first half. He was surprisingly close, I think. He ended up getting close to, I think, 150 normal Derrick Henry stuff. But that game was a lot closer than I thought. So you've got that one. And then, you know, we can rule on this. I'm going to, you know, if a player leaves in the first half of a game, I say it's void. But we knew the Gronk injury questions going in. So I'll let you set the precedent for this if you want to count it, or you want to make it null since he didn't play.
I guess I will count it, because you got to be wary of Gronk's injury issues over the years. So I guess I'll count it. I should have.
If he didn't have the injury questions going in, then I would say it's like you void it. And like if a guy leaves a game injured, like if Derrick Henry would have left the game in the first quarter, then we could, you know, void it, because, you know, we're not accounting for injury. But if there's a pre-existing injury or something, then we'll still let it ride. So I'll take it on that week. We're looking to make some more wagers this week. But yeah, just had to get to that, if only because it was, I think, one of the first times that I won since like week 1. So, and I needed it.
I've been good with the wagers.
Yeah, but even if Gronk did play, I mean, Tom Brady didn't even throw a touchdown, so maybe I still would have got that right. But we can move on
to our games here. We have a absolutely thunderous matchup at 6 a.m. our time. 6 a.m. I guess it would be 6 a.m. Pacific where we are.
6:30 a.m. our time.
Right, 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard in the United States, because they are playing in the United Kingdom. They are playing in London, representing the NFL in Europe. If only we had two like relevant teams to actually play in London. That's the thing, is like there's never going to be two relative teams playing in London, because you lose a home game from this. One team loses a home game basically, and the other person's away game doesn't really count, because the other team is playing away as well. So it's like, you know, these UK games are a little weird, and we don't have great teams to really watch here. If I have to pick a team, I think the Jets might shock some people.
Are you kidding me?
I think the Jets get their second win in a row.
I was so on the Jets. I was picking the Jets.
Really?
Yes. I'm hard on the Jets here. Like,
Okay.
I fully trust them in this game.
And the Jets are
3-point dogs.
They're a 3-point underdog. I would take the Jets to cover. I really would. I think that would be. I think they're going to shock some people, and Atlanta is still going to be struggling to piece things together. But
I thought I was going to be able.
Atlanta.
No, I'm not, I don't even. I picked Atlanta like week 1, and then I've been on them. I thought you don't want to trust in your guy Kyle Pitts or anything. I thought I was gonna, I thought I was making the bold choice by going New York. Dang it! I wanted to get another one on. I wanted to get one up on you. So yeah, I mean,
let's talk about the next one here. We got Green Bay at Cincy, both 3-1 teams. Bengals kind of being a little quiet with their success early on this season. Granted, one of their wins was against Jacksonville.
They beat like Jacksonville, Chicago, and I think
beat Minnesota on a missed field goal, right? Isn't that
no. They beat Minnesota week 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm looking at the games here. So, I mean, semi-relative wins. They're playing Green Bay this week and then the Lions next week. But if I'm talking about Green Bay and Cincy, I can't really put any doubts to Aaron Rodgers in this game. I can't really put any doubts to Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. If Cincy shocks Green Bay, that'd be great. Because I think they're currently leading the AFC North, or they're tied for first at least.
Yeah, Baltimore is also 3-1, and Cleveland. Yeah. So yeah, it's tough out there. Yeah, so,
I mean, I think Green Bay wins this and covers.
Yeah, Green Bay 3-point favorite. That's a little. I mean, I get Cincinnati's at home, but I mean, Green Bay's been playing really good after that first week kind of stumble. They've taken that out of. Not taking that into account, they've been one of the hotter teams, probably top 5 team so far, and I still think they've got that talent. We've seen what Rodgers and Adams can do together. Throw in Aaron Jones. Rodgers finally threw to Randall Cobb last week. So
2 touchdowns, I believe.
Yeah. I think Green Bay handles this pretty easily, but this will be the true test to see. Who Cincinnati is, because they lost to Chicago, they beat Minnesota, Pittsburgh last week, beat the Jags. But yeah, I mean, this is a big test for them. Are they really 3-1, or have they just played a bad schedule? So, but yeah, Green Bay I think probably handles this a little easier than the spread would indicate.
Alrighty, so the next game, I don't want to think this, but we got Detroit at Minnesota. I know Minnesota's been playing kind of decent thus far this season, even though they are 1-3. They had somewhat of an impressive win over Seattle, and they were a field goal away from getting their second win.
Mm-hmm.
I like these Lions, man. I still do. I don't know why, but I still just have a feeling that they're going to go on the road for a division game to take down Minnesota. And I think if they take down Minnesota, they hop them in the standings. So I'm putting my faith in Detroit one more time. And if they don't this week, then I'm not putting my faith in them until they win. So this is my last time.
I'm putting enough faith in them to cover about like 9.5, 10 points. I think it'll be a single-digit game, but I don't have enough faith in them to win. We were both in on them beating Chicago last week, and it didn't happen. So, Minnesota, they're probably a team that's better than their record indicates. Weirdly enough, I think they're playing really well. And the thing with them is that's the team that the offense is rolling. And Detroit might have the worst defense. They certainly don't have a great defense. Now they've got Trey Flowers out, one of their better players. So, I think Minnesota handles them, 7-6 points, somewhere in there. Detroit covers, but that offense, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, just Kirk, sling it around.
I'm putting my faith in them one more time, and if they do not win, then I'm not doing it until they get their first win, I should say.
This is the really interesting Jets Lions, double down, going in on both of them is really, really impressive.
Last week kind of changed my perspective on a couple of teams. So I mean,
do you want to? switch over to this one? Do you want to pick the Jaguars to beat the Titans and just
Oh no, I'm not picking the
go
Jaguars.
for it?
No, I'm not picking the Jaguars at all until they get their first win. I'm higher on Detroit than I am on Jacksonville.
Yeah,
no way Jacksonville wins this game.
I'll pick Jacksonville. You know,
That's kind of
they
like
were
half
close.
a wager, half a prediction here, because it's like who's gonna be the first. I guess that ought to be a wager then. Who's going to get in terms of the winless teams, which I think it's still Detroit and
Jacksonville.
The Giants won last week too, so they're the only winless teams.
Yeah,
I think Detroit gets their first win before Jacksonville. This is going to be like a half prediction, half wager.
I will need to see their schedules, but I mean, why not? You know, the Jaguars rallying behind Urban Meyer. Everybody thinks they're going to fall apart, and maybe they come together. A little bit of, you know, for those of you that have seen Ted Lasso, a little bit of lead tasso going on. The team bonds behind their you know, disdain of the coach. So, you know, fuck it, why not? I think the Lions have.
The Lions were going to play Jacksonville at some point. That would have been even better, but it doesn't look like they are.
Yeah. You know, why not? The Lions have gotten a lot of time. They've gotten a lot of opportunities to win a game, and they haven't done it. So, you know, I'm gonna roll with Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence is starting to get a little bit better, and guess what? They're playing a Tennessee team that just lost to the freaking Jets. So
they'll be angry, right? Using our knowledge from before.
Or it's just possible that they can lose to anybody. So
anybody in this league.
I'll roll with Jacksonville. I was so close on them last week. I was so close, but they fell apart in the second half. So maybe, you know, I said maybe Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer, they're just primetime guys. They almost proved me right, but I think, you know, I'll go with them again. I guess now I'm hitched onto the Jaguars bandwagon until they get a win or until the wheels completely fall off. Who knows what'll come first?
Now we got Denver at Pittsburgh here. Probably was not too interesting of a game before, but we may or may not see Teddy Bridgewater, I believe. I think he had some issues from the last game or for practice.
Yeah, I haven't seen an official update on him. He was expected to return to practice today. So
okay. Yeah. So that kind of puts me in a pickle here, because it's like if Teddy Bridgewater plays, then I think Denver might have the edge here. But if he doesn't, then this is Pittsburgh's game, because I will not put faith in Drew Lock to go to Heinz Field to play up against this Pittsburgh defense.
I think I'd probably rather have Drew Lock as my quarterback than Big Ben right now.
Sure, but playing in Heinz Field, I mean, I don't think he's played in Heinz Field before. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong.
Who knows?
But Drew Lock has not been great over his career, and Teddy Bridgewater is obviously proven to be the quarterback one. Yeah. If Teddy Bridgewater doesn't play, Drew Lock is not going to come in there and do a better job. It's just not going to happen. So
who knows? Well, I'm taking Pittsburgh in this. I'm taking Pittsburgh regardless of who the quarterback is for Denver. So if you just want to go the other way for the sake of disagreement, I'll let you do that. But I'm rolling with Pittsburgh.
I think Teddy Bridgewater has a decent chance of playing. It doesn't sound like it's nearly as severe.
I mean, I just picked the Jaguars 2 weeks in a row, so you can pick Drew Lock.
And plus, the Broncos know that they need to keep up their pace to keep competing in that division. So, I will go with Broncos on that. You'll go with Pittsburgh, okay?
But I think Pittsburgh, the offense isn't great. Ben Roethlisberger isn't great, but I think the defense can put something together. I mean, we just saw Denver. I don't want to say get exposed, but they finally played a team that had won a game before, and I memean, Baltimore handled them. Obviously, Teddy left halfway through, so that throws a wrench into the plan. But I think that the Broncos are all right, but 3-0 was a byproduct of the schedule. And I think Pittsburgh, they're looking to kind of figure some stuff out they played Green Bay last week. They lost. Obviously, that was the most likely outcome. But they're a little bit too talented to be this bad. So I'm going to roll with Pittsburgh.
It's a good point on playing winless teams before. I didn't take that into account, but I'm still rolling with them. I think Pittsburgh. It's going to be a relatively close game. It has Pittsburgh as the
1.5
by 1. I would take the over for either team. That's the thing. It's like I don't think this will be a 1-point game.
At that point, when it's that close, it's basically a pick 'em.
It's a coin toss at that point.
Yeah, so you're going money lines at that point. So yeah,
so basically, I'll take Denver to cover. You'll take Pittsburgh to cover, really.
Basically, yeah.
So next we got Miami at Tampa Bay. I don't think we got to waste any time on this. I think one of, if not, or it's tied for one of the biggest spreads.
Yeah,
this is tied for the biggest spread.
Yeah, with Minnesota. So I mean, if
that does not help my prediction.
Yeah, if you're picking Detroit, then maybe you should pick Miami as well. Little bit of a narrative people aren't talking about. Jacoby Brissett, Tom Brady, mentor versus mentee right there. He was in New England for like 2 years. Started a few games during the Deflategate suspension, so maybe
are we gonna say that if Tampa Bay plays San Fran?
Yeah. Oh no, that's for real because Brady did not like Garoppolo. Garoppolo was there to take his job. This is not
Garoppolo. I will be the first to say I have not been high on Garoppolo ever since he got the starting gig in San Fran. Yeah. So there's more of a meaning towards this game than there would in the Jimmy G game. I mean, they traded a 2nd-round pick for that guy. If anything, the Patriots got the sweet end of that deal.
Well, who the 2nd-round pick turned into?
I don't know. That's a good point. Maybe you should look that up there. But Tampa Bay playing Miami. Miami's going to have to travel north in the state. Not a very long road trip, but they're going to get embarrassed.
Yeah, and there's a comment in the chat. Still taking questions. Go ahead, throw your question in there. We'll answer it, and then we'll get back to that. But Tampa Bay. Yeah, Tampa Bay is going to win this. They struggled a bit with New England, but I mean, Belichick was going to go balls to the wall in that one. The spread is tough. I think Tampa Bay probably wins it. I think they're 10 points better from a talent perspective. We'll see how that plays out.
I think Tampa Bay covers.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for. But we'll see. Miami has sometimes looked scrappy, sometimes look crappy, which is I just came up with that. I kind of like that. But I was a little proud of myself there. But yeah, I mean, I don't have faith in them to really do. I mean, they just lost to the Colts, who that was another winless team that got their first win. The Colts last week, kind of under the radar. So Miami's certainly not playing well enough to contend here.
So, are you taking Miami or are you taking Tampa?
I'm taking Tampa.
Okay, thank God. All right. And you think Tampa will cover as well?
Yeah.
Okay. That almost was a wager there, but we'll talk about New Orleans going to Washington for another 10 a.m. game. I'm very, very on the fence with this Washington team. Some weeks they'll look bad. Some weeks they'll look, what we expected them to be, like an NFC East, kind of favorite to win that division alongside with the Cowboys.
Scrappy and crappy.
Yeah, don't give me I love Taylor Heineke. I love what he's doing. But on the other side of the football, I don't really know how to read this New Orleans team. And I have not been high on this New Orleans team the entire season, even after their huge win against Green Bay. They didn't win that game. Green Bay lost, is how I saw it. And the Saints, they just lost to the Giants last weekend, didn't they? Wasn't that game?
Yeah, overtime.
So, these are two teams that I do not have a great read on. But if I'm going to put my faith in one team, I'm going Washington here. I think Washington wins this game.
Me too. I might be back on the Washington football team bandwagon, but for a different reason. For a different reason, because now I'm just in on Taylor Heineke. Like I said, he's balling out since he's been starting. He's finding ways to win games. He's just doing what he has to do. He's absolutely deserves to be a starting quarterback in the league. He's playing really well. He's playing better than Ben Roethlisberger. He's playing better than, some guys that have been starters. So I'm back in on Washington, but because of their offense, because their defense is still not figuring anything out. So, not in on them, but I think, like I said, Taylor Heineke is going to have a big game. I think Taylor Heineke is going to lead them to a win, and I think he's, gonna play really well. But we'll see. New Orleans, they're keeping the leash on Jameis. They're not letting him throw a bunch, because when you let Jameis throw a bunch, he throws a lot of interceptions. They're keeping that down. They're running the ball. They're leaning on Alvin Kamara, which is smart. We'll see what happens when Michael Thomas comes back and, they get a go-to receiver. But they're kind of, reining in Jameis Winston. I think they certainly have the potential to win this game. But I don't know. Taylor Heineke is just working some magic. And, I'm a big fan of his and have been. So I'm all in on him. I'm going to go back to the chat. Dropped a trade question in here for us. It's Tyler Lockett for Zach Moss and Damian Harris. He's got his running backs.
Okay, I thought we were talking about here.
No. He's got his running backs and wide receivers listed out. I won't read all of them out, but the running back depth isn't great. He's got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who I think is a really solid option, Alex Collins and Samaje Perine, who are some injury options that are starters for now. So honestly, I'm high on Damian Harris. I'm trying to trade for him. I traded for him in one of my leagues, and I'm trying so hard to trade for him in my other league, but the guy's just not giving him up, even though he says he stinks. So I like this here. I think you're getting Damian Harris, who should be a solid running back too the rest of the year, and Zach Moss, who has some potential as the lead back in that Buffalo offense. And, he's got the wide receiver depth with CeeDee Lamb, who I think will start playing better, Deebo Samuel. But, maybe see if you could, downgrade it, trade one of the other receivers and hold on to Lockett. Try to trade a Marquise Brown or whatever. I doubt that'll happen. But Devonta Smith is solid. Deebo, Lamb. You got some good wide receivers, and I think you need to improve the running back room. So, I'm a big Damian Harris guy. So a lot of other people might not agree with me.
One of the other kind of insurance running backs that I kind of like. I noticed he has Alex Collins subbing in for Chris Carson. I like Madison from Minnesota because you can never really count on Dalvin Cook to play like a full year. I drafted him in one of my leagues, got to play him this last weekend, did fairly well. I think, there's more. I like Seattle and Minnesota in sort of like a, who's going to be the running back kind of deal. So that's kind of in terms of our insurance back. I like.
Yeah, I'm big on trading one guy for some depth, especially when you've got guys to make it work. Because at the end of the day, a great wide receiver, isn't helping you if you've got to start. If you got a question mark at one of your running back spots. So I think you got to look at your overall thing. Maybe try to hold on to Lockett, but I like Damian Harris. I'm trying to buy Damian Harris. But we can move on to, I think we haven't hit Philadelphia and Carolina, right?
That's the next one I have here. Yep.
Okay, your guys, Carolina.
Carolina, all day. Love Carolina.
I got Philly here.
That's pretty ballsy pick, Cody.
Philly? I mean, you picked Detroit, so I don't want to hear none of that.
Right. Well, that doesn't
Philly's
matter.
+3.
You just picked Philadelphia to win against this hot Carolina team.
Carolina team, they just lost.
It was a good game. They played a good team.
Good team. They played the Cowboys. We'll see how good they are. I like Philly to do some stuff here.
Look, Carolina, they know what they're doing, and Sam Darnold is slowly but surely showing promise to be like a Pro Bowl quarterback in the future. I'm not saying he's going to be all pro or MVP caliber or Super Bowl MVP. I'm not saying any of that stuff. He is gradually progressing towards kind of like that Kirk Cousins kind of area. And I think he has potential to, be better than Kirk Cousins down the lane. But I'm rolling with Carolina. I mean, Stefan Gilmore's going to probably not play this game, but play the next game.
Play soon.
They're playing kind of a pick-me-up game here. They're going to take out Philly. I think this is going to be – I like Panthers to cover too.
Yeah, we got to follow up in the chat on that trade thing, he said, the guy he's trading with also has Madison, but Moss is a more standalone guy. Zach Moss has some value.
Moss is kind of a coin flip for me because Buffalo is very pass heavy, but Moss has been playing relatively well.
He's getting some work. The thing with Madison only has value if Dalvin Cook is injured. So you're kind of taking a chance on that. Whereas Moss, not great, but he at least has, value every week going on out. And we'll see, if he tries to take a load off Josh Allen. So, I like going with that. But, Philly, the offense showed up against Kansas City, which isn't too much to say. But, I like what Jalen Hurts is cooking up. I like, I think that defense is kind of showing out. I mean, Carolina, they haven't played a great defense. I mean, Saints defense isn't great. Jets and Houston defense certainly isn't great either. I mean, I think
is Philadelphia defense really that great at the end of the day?
It's better than those three. I mean, the Dallas defense isn't incredible, but Philly's 7th least passing yards given up and second most rushing yards. So vulnerable on the ground, but good on the pass. We'll see. I mean, this is my, hoping that,
Are we not taking into account CMC about to have this angry game of his where he's like, I am going to play?
We'll see. Yeah, I mean,
into account here.
Christian McCaffrey could certainly have a good game, but I don't know. I mean, I'm feeling Philly. Why not? That's what I like to roll with. Why not?
Well, we didn't throw our locks out last week. That occurred to me while I was watching the games last weekend.
Oh, did I not?
But we did not put our locks of the weekend. I'm putting my lock on Carolina to win this game.
Okay. I don't even know if I thought.
Oh, come on. You're high on Philly. Is this going to be your lock?
No. God, no. What am I? I'm looking at the other games. I'm not hitting my lock yet. Maybe I'll come back.
You could on some games, but not ones that you want to kind of reach out for, right? Because I'm kind of reaching out for the Carolina game, but not as much as like you thinking Jacksonville's going to win against Tennessee. So
I'm not gonna lock that. I want to lock Washington, but
it'd be interesting. That's not necessarily like a favorited game there. That's kind of like a 60-40 kind of chance.
I mean, they're dogs. They're dogs. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll come back to it. Let's go through some more games.
We got New England and Houston to finish up the 10 a.m. games.
I mean, New England.
Yeah.
Houston just had one of the worst offensive performances of it that there has ever been.
Probably in this decade so far.
Yeah.
And Justin Fields had almost kind of a worse performance, I guess, the week before, but he didn't throw 4 picks.
No. I mean, at the end of it, Bill Belichick is not getting beat by Houston. That's just simple as that.
So this may very well be a lot because this isn't like it's not a gimme, so to speak, but it's like.
Well, I'm not gonna lock this. That's
okay.
That's a little bit easier.
All right, start out the 1 p.m. games. Chicago at Las Vegas. This has potential of being possibly an interesting game. I think
Vegas likes to play it close. Vegas likes to play it close.
And I'm not going to put my money on Justin Fields coming out and being a clutch quarterback, so to speak. It's his second start or his third start now, third game, I guess.
Second start.
Well, no, you played the game 2 weeks ago where he played awful, and then he played last week, so this is his third.
Oh, he did start that game.
I don't know if he was subbed in this.
I think he started, but no, Las Vegas. They
third kind of game, right?
Yeah,
so
Las Vegas likes to play it close. They've been down like 14 points. I don't know, seemingly every game. They almost came back against the Chargers, but I still think Vegas will win this. I think they're a pretty good team, but I do like Chicago to cover 5.5 just because Vegas likes to play it close. So I could see this coming down, to the wire, just because those are the type of games that the gamblers over there in Las Vegas like to play.
I'll take the over on Oakland.
You're taking on Oakland. Come on, that was just a rough sentence all around. So you're taking.
It's gonna take me a little bit to refer to them
Vegas,
as well.
You're taking the Vegas spread. All right, that's solid. We'll move on to the next one.
We got Cleveland at LA. Wait, so are we both taking Raiders?
Yeah, both take Raiders. I like Cleveland in this one.
In Cleveland,
I like Cleveland.
This might be one of my favorite games of the weekend. I think this is gonna be good.
Yeah.
It's gonna kind of prove what we should really think about this Chargers team, because things have been kind of rocky so far. I mean, once they got that win against Kansas City, that's when a lot of people are starting to ask questions like, is this a reasonable competition in the AFC West? The Raiders are proving their worth. The Broncos are proving their worth. And now here's the Chargers, who are proving their worth with Justin Herbert. But they're playing another 3-1 team that's battling in their division, arguably more competitive than the AFC West, considering everybody in the AFC North is killing it, except for the Steelers. So this is a really good / tough game to call. But it being in LA helps the Chargers, obviously. I think it does, because
they just had to use a silent count at their home game.
Well, that's the thing with these new stadiums. I literally have this feeling with the new stadiums like Allegiant and like SoFi. They're massive and they're filled with fans. And this is Cleveland. I think this might very well be Cleveland's first time playing in the stadium. I just kind of took into account with Chicago going to Allegiant with just a sea of gray and black. I think that takes a toll on a team that has.
They certainly factor those into the spreads, but I like Cleveland here. I think they'll run the ball. They'll figure it out. They'll do what they have to do. I mean, Cleveland. What their one loss is to Kansas City, and it was pretty close. They're a pretty good team.
Was against Houston, to be fair. So I mean, what are the other wins against that I'm not remembering? I haven't kept up to a ton with this team.
I mean, they beat Minnesota Chicago last week.
So the way I see it is they've played 3 teams with losing records or 500 records and won, and the one team they played that also I guess has a 500 record with Kansas City, they won. They lost. I'm taking Chargers. I think Chargers win.
I like Cleveland here. One of the matchups to watch all weekend is Myles Garrett going up against Rashawn Slater, rookie left tackle for the Chargers, who's looked absolutely incredible. He's played amazing, but so is Myles Garrett. Defensive Player of the Year favorite right now. He's leading the league in sacks. So that's going to be something to watch. Rashawn Slater getting a true test is one of the best edge rushers
in the league. Who do you trust more late in the game, Herbert or Mayfield? And I don't think it's as obvious as some people may think.
I trust the Browns more. I just like what their offense does. So I'm rolling with the Browns.
All right, Chargers. Keep the AFC West entertaining, Chargers. I've picked the AFC West in all of the games, so I am rooting for them.
Have I not? No, I picked.
We haven't talked about Sunday Night Football yet, but we'll keep going here.
We'll get to that.
New York Giants at Dallas.
Give me the Giants.
You're going to take the Giants?
Dude, Danny Dimes is hot right now. Danny Dimes
is 1-3
playing well. Yeah, but he's playing well. They just beat the Saints. They're coming in hot.
If you're going to talk this high on Daniel Jones, I got to pull up his stats. Hold on.
He just threw for like 400, man. He's doing good. The interceptions are not there. And
that's his only time getting over 300 yards, which isn't really that, big of a stat. But only 2 interceptions, no fumbles on the year.
That's what I'm saying.
That's my biggest thing with him would have been turnovers.
Yeah, that's always been the biggest thing with him. Also, add in the fact he's the third best rushing quarterback. The Cowboys defense is looking solid. Trevon Diggs is absolutely incredible. This dude is, establishing himself
all-pro safety
as one of the best, corners. I mean, he's got 5 picks in 4 games. It's just
that the one that's Stefan's brother, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're
not all related, right? It's just those 2.
No, this is the game that the Trevon Diggs interception streak ends, and it is to the guy who you would expect the most to throw an interception to him. He did throw one last week. He threw his first pick last week. But Danny Dimes.
Yeah, first pick.
Danny Dimes leads the Giants to victory. He's playing better on the road than he is, which is kind of funny. But yeah, give me Danny Dimes.
First win on the road, so
yeah, give me Danny Dimes. You want to bet
on a wager? He turns over the ball easily.
You're just going to give me one turnover?
He throws an interception.
All right, I will once again put my faith in Daniel Jones. It didn't work out for me last time.
He throws an interception against this Dallas team. They're on. I know you said they're, decent on the road, but on the road in Dallas for a hot Dallas team.
He's played there a handful of times already.
Sure, I mean they're in the same division, but
he's used to it.
Cowboys fans, when the Cowboys are playing good, are just a pain to deal with. So,
they won't be playing good after Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones comes in and leads them to victory.
No siree.
Dude, I was, for the first 2 years of Daniel Jones' career, I was in on Daniel Jones. Then last year,
makes you? If you were high on him the past 2 years, not the past 2 years, not the first 2 years when he was just trying to figure stuff out, and then last year I was like, I can't do it. Or last year, what has changed?
He's not throwing interceptions. One interception in 4 games.
They're not winning games. I don't care if he goes the whole year without making a mistake.
Well, I don't care if they win games. He's playing well.
Okay, well, you should care if they're winning games because you just put your faith in them to win the game.
Well, you picked Detroit, so that's going to be my comeback every time.
That's going to be your comeback throughout the year.
You picked Detroit. I picked Jacksonville, but you picked Detroit. I picked Jacksonville again.
Giants are going to upset Dallas. Okay, so
hell yeah.
San Fran at Arizona. What a game for a 1 o'clock game here.
I'm picking San Francisco.
I'm picking Arizona, man.
I'm picking San Francisco.
Arizona's got something cooking. A lot of people are counting them out. Everybody was counting them out against the Rams, and they made the Rams look silly.
Yeah, they play good.
What other team did we think were going to make the Rams look silly? Tampa Bay, and the opposite happened.
Yeah.
So this Arizona team played the Rams and made them look dumb. And they're now playing a San Fran team that may or may not start Trey Lance. Don't get me wrong, Trey Lance has a lot of potential, and I'm pretty high on him.
Mm-hmm.
But Kyler Murray, to me, is still the favorite as MVP. And if he plays good this game, then it should be all downhill from there with Kyler Murray, and he will have a smooth path down to MVP. But
my logic makes no sense. My logic makes no sense. San Francisco lost to Seattle. Arizona beat LA. I don't care. Give me San Francisco. I feel like they've got something cooking. Kyle Shanahan is going to be, he's going to be ready for this. Trey Lance. I mean, maybe San Francisco should have picked Mac Jones. Just saying.
What?
Mac Jones is playing good. Mac Jones is playing good.
He's playing good because he's throwing 7-yard passes, and they're playing boring football.
That's what San Francisco does. San Francisco has Jimmy Garoppolo. That offense works.
When Trey Lance was playing, he was running around making plays like the good Kaepernick days. That is going to win over this entire franchise. Trey Lance is way more dynamic than Jimmy G. It's not even funny.
Yeah, I know, but they made the Super Bowl with Jimmy G. The
defense
offense
made the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the defense is good. When they're good is great, and the offense can function with a Jimmy Garoppolo type quarterback. It's the model for them. So, but Trey Lance will start. Trey Lance will go off, and
who knows if he'll start? I hope he does.
San Francisco's going to win. I'm feeling a lot of upsets this week.
The fact that Kyler Murray is putting points on the board and he's not targeting DeAndre Hopkins every freaking time.
Yeah,
that says something. They don't really have a great run offense with James Conner and Kenyon Drake is in the backfield. He's over in Las Vegas, right?
Yeah. Chase Edmonds.
Chase Edmonds
is the number one guy.
All he's got to work out with out there is maybe Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk, and then
Larry Fitzgerald is gone. They got AJ Green.
But even he's injury prone, so he's making it work with all of these
injured yet. Rondale Moore, Max Williams. Come on, the offense is good, but San Francisco, they got something brewing. Let's go.
You picked Jacksonville, so
you picked the Lions. They're like one of the biggest underdogs of the day. So.
One of the biggest underdogs of all time.
Yeah.
All right. For Sunday night football. This is going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a good game.
No, what do you mean it's going to be a great game?
Because Kansas City is going to play.
Neither of these teams like to play defense. And they won't play defense.
Sure, but like Kansas City, I think, knows they're in a bit of a shaky spot. So they're going to play some real kind of BS football. Like they're going to be real boring, I think. I mean, sure, Patty Holmes could go out there and throw 300-plus yards. Have Tyreek Hill just throw himself towards the ball, and it's going to be a reception every time. They could very well do that. But if they want to win this game, keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands and stay on the field for as long as possible.
Kansas City, lock of the week. Let's go.
This is your lock of the week.
Yeah, definitely. The Bills, I think the Bills are good. The Bills are a good football team.
Top 5 team in the league right now.
But are we overreacting? Their last 3 games were won by a combined 97 points. They played Houston. They played Miami. They played Washington. Like, this team has not been tested yet. Josh Allen.
Those points are going to come right back on Sunday night because Kansas City's defense, by stats, has been one of the worst by giving up tons and tons of yards.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is this team hasn't been tested yet. Josh Allen hasn't been tested yet. The biggest test they got was Pittsburgh, and they looked bad. I don't think they're that team. But I think this is going to remind us that Kansas City is still better than Buffalo. And honestly, I'm liking Baltimore in the AFC out of everybody still. But Kansas City is going to reassert their dominance.
Conference championship we're talking about.
And who won?
Yeah, who won then? Who's going to win now? Buffalo kept all their dudes. In Kansas City, improved the offensive line, right? I mean, Patty Holmes has not been his typical self, but he's still been great.
Really? He has 14 touchdowns.
And he's got some stupid turnovers that has lost him 2 games.
He just threw 5 touchdowns last week. So
yeah. I understand. Yeah, they won the game against the Philadelphia Eagle team who is really a fan of that team other than possibly Eagles fans? So,
they got a stingy defense. But I'm saying Buffalo, they beat Houston? Who gives a shit what they did against Houston? That means nothing. This team hasn't been.
They beat Miami last division game. They're at the top of that division. They look like the easy favorites to be.
Well, yeah, that division is garbage. They're going to be good. They're still good. They're going to be there at the end of the year, but I think Kansas City is still better.
I'm taking into account what's his face, the offensive coordinator for the Bills,
Brian Dable.
I'm taking into account that he had every reason to take a head coaching job this offseason. If anything, I was really high on him going to LA.
He might not have
be the head coach for the Chargers.
He might not have
still with the team.
Gotten one.
He was interviewing for jobs. I know that.
Yeah, I'm sure he would have taken one if he.
But he's still with this Bills team. He wants this team to be successful. He wants a Super Bowl berth. He wants this team to take it all. And this is the team to beat, to solidify.
You know the last time Buffalo beat Kansas City?
We're taking into account 2 decades of misery for Buffalo. So
it was 2017. And before that, it was 2012. So Josh Allen hasn't
actually
beat
better
Patrick
than I thought it was going to be, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But Josh Allen hasn't beat Patrick Mahomes yet.
You know who didn't beat Patrick Mahomes? Lamar Jackson. Just did it this year.
Yeah.
Now it's Josh Allen's turn. Baker Mayfield is the one that I'm not going to put faith in against Kansas City because he just can't beat this damn team.
Yeah.
But Josh Allen, I think, can. This is his second time playing this team. He will get it done.
Third time.
This is Buffalo. Or it's his third time?
Third time. Regular season in 2020. And I think they played last year. But Kansas City, I mean,
I think they played twice last year because
they played the regular season. Yeah, I mean, as weird as it, things are happening around the league, but I still think Kansas City is one of the best teams. Their defense is a little, and I still think the Rams are up there, team to beat. But I like Ravens in the AFC. But yeah, Chiefs. I think that's my lock of the week. Patrick Mahomes, Sunday Night Football. He's just got it going on. He's balling.
Oh, I would love to put a wager on this game, but I think it's just going to be too entertaining for me to put.
Let's go. Let's put a wager. Josh Allen, more fantasy points.
I want to put more money on
Patrick Mahomes.
That's a decent question.
Patrick Mahomes, more fantasy points. Josh Allen.
I'll take you on it.
Yeah, that gets us well.
Josh Allen will get more fantasy points.
So we're kind of at 3. We got Jacksonville, Detroit first win, which might not happen this week. So if you want to come up with another one, we can make it 3 for sure this week. But other than that, we've just got the two wagers.
I'll put faith in Sam Darnold. He gets 3 touchdowns. 3 total touchdowns.
I'm not doing 3 total touchdowns because I love to
leading the league in rushing touchdowns. I want you to know that.
Yeah, I don't care. It's like QB sneaks. Who gives a shit? Christian McCaffrey's going to take all those now. I'm not going.
3 total touchdowns, Sam Darnold.
I'll give you 3 passing touchdowns. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna.
It matters a little bit with the rushing ability. You said it doesn't matter, but it matters a little bit.
It's not rushing ability. It's QB sneaks. Those are not rushing ability.
You can get a QB sneak last week, I don't think.
Tom Brady does not have rushing ability, but he's got a rushing touchdown.
How many QB sneak touchdowns has Sam Darnold gotten this year? Because I don't think it's been every single one like you're thinking it is.
He averages 2.6 yards per carry.
Are they taking into account sacks?
No.
Do we know?
Yeah.
Because it says it right next to it?
Because they don't do that in the NFL. They only do that in college.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense, actually.
Yeah, it's just rushing attempts.
Oh, if I had to put
there's a 1-yard rushing touchdown, a 2-yard rushing touchdown. Oh, a 4.
He's hot.
He had a 46-yard rushing touchdown.
Woo!
Oh no! Wait, no, that's 2020.
Good for Sammy.
Wait, does he not have any? Where are his passing touchdowns? I'm really confused right now.
I don't care about the passing touchdown. Okay. If I have to put faith in someone here, this is tough. We really should have done this as we were going on.
I was throwing out a lot of hot takes here.
Well, your hot take is for Philly. There's no way Jalen Hurts.
I mean, we don't have to throw out another one.
Well, we got him now. We got it. We promised it. So, I'm
willing to bet I'm willing to go like Kyle Pitts will have a good game.
I don't think
even though I'm picking the Jets.
That's when we can do it. Yeah, I don't think he will.
I mean, somebody's got to catch some passes. So what do we want to do here? Do I want to do fantasy points?
He's going to give it to the equipment manager with pads and a helmet. That's who Matty Ryan's.
Dude, how do we want to do this? Do you want to go catches? Do you want to go yards? Do you want to go fantasy?
Has he gotten a touchdown yet?
I don't think so.
I don't think he has.
Like 10, I'll say 10 fantasy points. Kyle Pitts.
10 fantasy points. So you can't really be too high on it if you're going to give him 10.
That's
make it like 12. I'll take under on 12.
Wait, let me go see how many he scored the most. I'll go. He has his best fantasy game. Let's see what that is.
His best fantasy game?
His best is 9.8.
Yeah, I don't think he'll. Nope.
Okay, so we'll go to 10.
Yep, he will not get 10.
All right, so we'll chuck that one down. We got 3 wagers. We will, reevaluate those on Monday along with our picks, which we disagree on a lot this time. If you want to, so we should have a decisive winner.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So over half the games we disagree on. So we either have a decisive winner or we will be exactly tied. So that'll be something to watch for. Come back and, hang out with us on Monday. We will be recapping the weekend, which looks to be a great weekend, especially with that Sunday night football game once again being good. We'll give you some takeaways. We'll give you some stars. We'll, who knows what we'll talk about. We'll figure that out eventually, but we'll just talk about what went down, as we will be over a quarter of the way through after this weekend. So that'll be fun. But remember to follow Dash Sports on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to keep up with what we are doing, as well as subscribe to the YouTube channel, Dash Sports, to check out all our shows and clips, and visit our website, dashsports.tv. Check out the other Pac-12 content we've got going on. Come back with us on Monday and again on Thursday as we keep grinding through this NFL season. But until then, see you next time.